One thing I have found over the years is that there is one intuitive development tool that many people just aren't teaching. And it is one of the most impactful tools when it comes to opening up your intuition. I want to cover that in today's session. And if you're new to this channel, I want you to go ahead and hit subscribe. Make sure to hit the notification button. I want you to get all of these videos because you're on your intuitive journey. I'm here to be your cheerleader. And together we're going to learn about intuition. We're going to learn about spirituality on a deep level. And we're going to do this. So there's a reason I didn't tell you right in the beginning what this tool was. I'm going to talk today about a tool, a spiritual practice that will open up your intuition faster than most any other tool that you've experienced. But there's a reason I didn't start with it right out of the gate. I didn't tell you what it was right out of the gate. There's a reason for that, because it's not the most glamorous one. It's not the technique, the tool, the spiritual practice that we all wake up and go, gee, I want to do that. It falls more in the category of, gee, I have to do that. So with love, let's talk about what this tool is. Let's talk about how we can approach it the easiest way. And I really want to talk about exactly what's going to happen for you when you do. Here we go. One of the number one tools when it comes to psychic development, mediumship development, overall intuitive development is decluttering. Decluttering emotional clutter, physical clutter, environmental clutter. This is the non-fun cleanup job that none of us want to do. But stick with me on this. I'm going to make it easy. I'm going to make it a little bit of fun. And I'm going to tell you how this came to be, how I came to this understanding. When I first opened up, I was in my early 30s, so I didn't have a lifetime of spirituality. I opened up, got a whole backstory on it, and went from complete skeptic to open, met my first intuitive spiritual guide, and he taught me most everything I know. Actually, the Sage Method course, that is, I mean, at this point, it's become an award-winning intuitive development course, which I'm so excited for. But that course was literally from that guide's teaching so many years ago. Put it together, and I've been teaching people that 7-week development course for years. So I learned so much from him, and I walked through this as well. In order to access our intuition, we sometimes have to do the inner work that we don't necessarily want to do. But let me go back a little bit and let me say this. When I was learning from my spiritual guide, I thought, hey, you know what? I should probably go out and also learn from, living guides, living teachers, people that can teach me how to tap into my intuition, how to do mediumship, and I went to a couple of classes, not even a handful of them, just a couple of them, just enough to go, all right, this isn't the path for me. Because each of the classes that I went for psychic development or mediumship development. Each of these classes, wonderful, loving, compassionate, caring teachers. But the class itself, they would simply say to me, do it. Tap into these cards, tap into this object, tap into the spirit that's in the room. And the piece that I never could grab onto is like, how? And I would try, and it wouldn't necessarily always work. Sometimes it would, off and on, but I never knew how or why it worked. And I've just felt blocked. If you've ever been focusing on your intuition and thought to yourself, I feel blocked, this is the tool. This is it. And again, I promise I'll make it easy and painless. One thing these other classes didn't address was what was blocking the intuition. There's a lot of intuitive development courses out there on how to read cards, remote viewing, things like this. I teach those specialty courses as well. But my foundational course very much includes not only how intuition works, the steps that you can take to step into your intuitive channel, but how to unblock it. Because unless you're actually unblocking it, you're never going to be able to access it. And again, this isn't the glamorous work. This isn't the work where we go, yay, I get to work on myself. Or we think, I've already worked on myself. I don't want to work on myself anymore. So inner work can be a challenge. It can be something that we're not necessarily inviting ourselves into. Maybe we don't really want to do inner work, but I'm here to tell you that the act of decluttering is what opens up your intuitive channel. So right before we get into the nitty-gritty of this, I will say this. When it comes to decluttering and doing inner work, mental decluttering, environmental decluttering, relationship decluttering, it's not about getting it done. It's not about getting it completed and finished and all wrapped up and healed. Your intuitive channel is blocked because you're holding still. If you move toward healing, inner work, focusing on decluttering your environment, your relationships, your to-do list, your mind, the act of decluttering is what opens the intuitive channel. So let's take a lot of pressure off of ourselves that the whole bedroom closet doesn't have to be decluttered symbolically. You just have to start. You have to be in the process of decluttering it. You have to be moving toward healing, moving toward releasing, moving toward balancing, moving toward alignment. It's that act of moving in the direction you want to move in, releasing that which you don't need. That conscious step of doing this is what relaxes and opens the intuitive channel. Think of it this way. It's like there's an adorable little giant in your mind that is blocking, it's like just a blocking giant sitting in that intuitive channel, and it's blocking it from moving. And that adorable little giant is sitting there, and the clutter and the mess has piled up around that little guy. And now he's like falling asleep, and he's like, yeah, okay, you can read cards all you want, but I'm not going to participate. When you take steps to do inner work, healing work, decluttering, you wake that little mini giant up. And the giant goes, oh, okay, oh, we're moving. Okay, we're moving. There's movement. That's what decluttering is. So it's not perfect decluttering. It's the movement toward it. It's where that little giant in your intuitive channel goes, oh, okay, good. All right, let's get this stuff moving through. Let's get this stuff moving through. They're going in the direction that they want to go in. So this is the long way to get around to the very short answer of you just have to take steps. They can be small steps. You just have to take steps. There are going to be times in your life that you're frozen. There's going to be times that you hold still. Absolutely 100%. We've all had it. If you don't think you have, that's another thing you should probably look at to declutter. But just taking small steps, doing something. If it's decluttering your environment, start with one area of a corner of a room. Don't feel like you have to get the entire house done. If you want to declutter your mental to-do list, put it all down on paper, organize it in any way that works for you so you can tackle one thing at a time. If you want to declutter relationships, take a small step, whether that's setting a healthy boundary, opening up a conversation, or just learning about somebody and connecting in that relationship on a deeper level. Take a step toward decluttering that energy, because we hold that energy, we carry that energy, and it clogs up that intuitive channel. Here's the beauty of intuition, and you don't hear this a lot out there, but here's the beauty of it. It's already there. Intuition is not a gift that certain people have and certain people don't. There's not special people that have it and non-special people that don't have it. Every single one of us has it. It's part of the soul. It's part of the spiritual body. It is a natural sixth sense. Well, then why does somebody else have access to, why can somebody else get messages and I can't? Because of clutter. Yours is just as strong as theirs, but we as humans naturally can have all these experiences and all these situations come into our lives where we can clutter. People who downsize their living situation from a big house to maybe a super small house, or perhaps they downsize in a way that they're heading off, to travel or something. People that do big downsizing of their environment start to have their intuition perk up. People who declutter their physical body by massively eating healthier, going from a very unhealthy diet to a very healthy diet, are going to have their intuition start to perk up. when you declutter relationships and you're not weighed down mentally by constant thinking through and processing through the stresses of it, your intuition is going to perk up. This is the simplifying part that I want to give you. I know I've said this a couple times, but wow, is it important? Not the end goal that opens up intuition. It's not the end goal. You don't have to have perfect relationships, completely uncluttered house, and completely uncluttered body. You don't have to have that end goal. It's the act of moving toward that. It's the act of doing it. It's the act of starting to take the steps in these areas that you want to take. That action is intent-based. That intent ramps up your vibration. That vibration opens up your intuition. It's almost like your intuition, that little giant, says, oh, look what they're doing. Oh, this is great. I need to assist. I need to give them more information. I need to give them some guidance. So decluttering is huge, and it's not a big focal point in a lot of intuitive development courses out there because, like I said, it's not the shiny little fun little toy. Sometimes it's more fun to sit down with a deck of cards and do a card reading. I get it. But what I will tell you is that if you pick just a couple things in your life that you know you want to see change, and start, this is the fun part, just pick a couple little things you know you want to see change, you know that you need to declutter, you know you need to either set boundaries, clean something out, move something along, let something go. Take a couple small steps, heck, even write it down and say, this is what I'm going to do. And take a couple small steps toward it, and you're going to start to see your intuition open. More and more flow is going to come through because you're going to get the guidance intuitively to support you in the tasks that you're doing toward decluttering your mental state, your physical state, your relationships. So, not fancy, I get it, but powerful, powerful, very, very powerful. Some of this declutter movement can be uncomfortable. Some of awareness that we get as a result of it, of waking up and going, oh, I see the situation the way it really is now, that can be uncomfortable and difficult. And this is why we don't want to do it. This is why we have some clutter, because we just maybe don't want to deal with it. But let me be your cheerleader and let me cheer you on to take on a little task, a little step, move a little bit forward, because that forward movement might not solve everything, right? But it's going to start to open up that intuitive channel. And we might be in a space in our life where we're unhappy and we're looking at this going, that's a big step. There's always a small step you can take in the direction of the big step you want to take. You don't have to solve it overnight. You just have to be in that intuitive flow of intent. That's where you need to be. So let's address the messy work. The more inner work you do, the more you're going to set that intuitive channel free, the more guidance you're going to get through it. And it's going to really, really help. So give it a try. Write down a couple things that are small. You don't have to take on the world. Just write down a couple things that are small and take ones that you can handle, bite-sized portions that you can get started with, and start taking those steps, even if it's a matter of just meditating. Even if it's a matter of saying, you know what, I'm going to say this mantra, this, affirmation today a few times to really lift my spirits. Whatever it is, take a small step. This tool is so big that I have put it into the top 5 intuitive tools. That's the free course. Over the years, I've gathered my 5 favorite, right out of the gate, get started, easy tools that are really powerful. And this decluttering tool is in that course because it really makes a huge difference. Myself, I was a professional intuitive for a number of years, 6 years, something like that. And we left a rental and decided to go on a 4-month road trip. And instead of keeping the house rental with all of our stuff in it, we rehomed everything. We massively downsized, went on a 4-month road trip. My intuition took off to new levels on that road trip, levels I didn't even know I could reach. And I remember saying to my guide on that road trip, well, I thought I was already strong enough intuitively. I thought I didn't know it could get stronger. And he said to me, look at everything you decluttered. Look at everything that you released, right? Save the stuff that's meaningful to you, save the stuff that's purposeful to you. But, you know, if you've got just one too many pieces of Tupperware and you're ready to let them go, rehome them. You know, if you've got a whole pile of clothes that you're just not going to wear, rehome it. If you have a conversation you need to have with a friend or a loved one, have the conversation. Take a step. Trust me, your intuition will just start to expand. Keep going with this. This next video, you're going to love it. It's perfect. It's another approach to opening up that intuitive channel.